point.
What was he using my chair for, a trampoline?
Archie, the chair was old and rickety.
Old and rickety? You say a rotten thing like that about something that I hold dear? Do I ever say rotten things like that about the things that you hold dear? Did I ever call your mother old and rickety?
Remember when you heard that off-key theme song and you knew it was time to spend half an hour with a loudmouth loading dock foreman and his very patient wife? All in the Family was that show. Archie Bunker, played by Carroll O'Connor grumbling in his chair, Gene Stapleton as big-hearted Edith trying to keep the peace, Sally Struthers as Gloria stuck in the middle, and Rob Reiner as Gloria's husband, Michael Stivic, ready to argue with Archie about absolutely everything. Sadly, we lost Rob Reiner. His work on this show and everything that came after left a mark on all of us, so we just wanted to say, we'll miss you, meathead. CBS rolled All in the Family onto the schedule in January of 1971, and it took off. 9 seasons, 205 episodes, and a whole lot of yelling later, it had changed what TV was allowed to talk about. Politics, race, religion, war, women's lib. If America was arguing about it, so were the bunkers. Today, we're going back to that worn-out armchair for 15 weird and wonderful facts you didn't know about All in the Family. The casting almost, the lawsuits, and the behind-the-scenes drama that nearly wrote Archie out of his own show. Now, before we dive in, hit like and subscribe to Remember When for more deep dives into the shows we grew up on, and share this video with a friend whose dad basically was Archie Bunker, or at least had the chair to prove it. Now let's get into the countdown with number 15. Mickey Rooney and Harrison Ford both said no. Before Archie Bunker became one of the most famous characters in television history, All in the Family was so controversial that some stars wanted nothing to do with it. Norman Lear's first choice to play Archie was Mickey Rooney. Rooney read the script and immediately turned it down.
And he hears this and he says, they're going to kill you in the streets. Norm, they're going to kill you, they're going to shoot you dead in the streets.
Dramatic? Maybe, but it tells you how risky this role felt in the early 1970s. Playing Archie Bunker didn't look like a career move, it looked like a target. And Rooney wasn't the only actor to pass. Future legend Harrison Ford was offered the role of Michael Stivic. He turned it down for moral reasons. Ford reportedly found Archie's bigotry too offensive and didn't want part of any show that was built around those ideas, even satirically. This was years before Star Wars or Indiana Jones, when Ford was still scraping by in Hollywood, and he still said no. Rooney was already a legend. Ford would become one. Both walked away from the show, and Carroll O'Connor walked straight into it. Number 14. Penny Marshall was a finalist for Gloria. In 1970, as Norman Lear was casting the pilot for All in the Family, one of the actresses under serious consideration to play Gloria Stivic was a then unknown Penny Marshall. At the same time, Rob Reiner was auditioning for the role of Michael Stivic, and that's where things got interesting.
Now, first, we'll take your heart.
Why my heart?
Well, my heart, your heart. It's the heart that pumps the blood, right?
Yeah.
Now, does your heart ask you who gave you the blood? No. It's just like the water pump in a car.
The water pump in a car?
Marshall and Reiner grew up across the street from each other in the Bronx, but they'd never actually met as kids. Their first real meeting came in Los Angeles at the All in the Family auditions. During callbacks, Marshall and Reiner were paired together to test their on-screen chemistry. Marshall impressed the producers, but Norman Lear reportedly felt she resembled Gene Stapleton a little too closely. For Gloria, Lear wanted someone who looked more like Archie, a true daddy's little girl. That thinking landed the role with Sally Struthers, who resembled Carroll O'Connor more than Marshall did.
One of the most talented new painters around today flatters me by offering to paint me, and you make it sound so nasty.
Penny Marshall didn't get the part, but she did get something else. She and Reiner hit it off at those auditions, started dating shortly after, and married in 1971. And missing out on Gloria didn't exactly hurt her career either. Marshall went on to star as Laverne in Laverne and Shirley, then became one of the most successful female directors in Hollywood history. Big, Awakenings, A League of Their Own, not getting Gloria worked out just fine. Number 13, Those Were the Days was not borrowed from the past.
Oi, the way Glenn Miller played.
One of the smartest tricks All in the Family ever pulled was making its theme song sound old, even though it wasn't.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Those Were the Days feels like a tune from your grandparents' era, but it was brand new, written specifically for the show by Broadway veterans Lee Adams and Charles Strouse at Norman Lear's request.
Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days.
The song actually came before the title. While the series was still in development, its working title was Those Were the Days. When the show got renamed All in the Family, Lear liked the theme so much he kept it anyway.
And you knew where you were then.
And every lyric was deliberate. Lear wanted the opening to explain Archie before he ever spoke a word. Lines about Herbert Hoover, rigid gender roles, and guys like us, we had it made, weren't nostalgia, they were warning labels. This guy isn't charming. He's stuck.
Girls were girls and men were men.
The stripped-down presentation was a budget solution that became a signature. When there wasn't money for an orchestra, Charles Strouse suggested having the characters sing around a piano, inspired by his own childhood memories of family sing-alongs. Jean Stapleton looked like she was playing, but Strouse actually performed off-camera to keep the timing tight.
Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again.
And that LaSalle line, it confused so many viewers that CBS got flooded with calls asking what they were singing. By season 3, O'Connor and Stapleton re-recorded it just to enunciate more clearly.
G.R.O. LaSalle, red grape.
One quick clarification though. This song has nothing to do with Mary Hopkins' 1968 hit of the same name. Different song, different origin, just an unfortunate title collision. The theme sounds warm and familiar. That's the trick. It's not celebrating the past, it's explaining why Archie can't let go of it.
Those were the days.
Number 12, Meathead was from Norman Lear's childhood. One of All in the Family's most famous insults didn't come from a writer's room, it came from Norman Lear's real life. Meathead, Archie Bunker's favorite way to dismiss his son-in-law.
What's the matter? Get away from me, you meathead! It's all your fault. You nearly bite the hand off.
Was a name Lear's own father used on him as a kid, and it wasn't exactly playful. His father would say, "You're a meathead, dead from the neck up." Years later, Lear dropped that exact insult into a show, and that wasn't the only thing he borrowed.
Keep away from me, meathead. Keep away from me.
Dingbat, stifle yourself, those weren't invented in a writer's room either.
Who am I?
The dingbat.
Lear's father used to tell his mother to stifle. The way Archie talked to Edith, that dismissive, belittling tone, came straight from Lear's memory of how his dad talked to his mom. That's why Archie never sounded like a cartoon. He sounded like somebody's father or uncle. Somebody you sat across from at Thanksgiving who thought being family meant he could say whatever he wanted. Lear didn't make Archie up, he remembered him. Number 11, the show was almost called Justice for All and almost never aired. Before All in the Family became television's loudest living room, it almost died in development hell. Norman Lear's original 1968 pilot wasn't called All in the Family, it was Justice for All. And Archie Bunker, he was Archie Justice. Same attitude, just different name.
What do you mean, hello, everybody? Who you trying to beat today, Betty Davis or Shirley Temple?
Carroll O'Connor and Jean Stapleton were already in place as Archie and Edith, but the kids were completely different. Kelly Jean Peters played Gloria and Tim McIntyre played her husband Richard. ABC watched the pilot and said,
No.
The network thought the chemistry between the couples fell flat, which made the whole generational clash feel like it had no teeth. So, Lear retooled a bit. He changed the title to Those Were the Days, recast the younger couple with Candy Azara and Chip Oliver, and shot another pilot. Another rejection.
We got time to spare.
No, Daddy, not now. I have too much on my mind.
Well, one little thing more won't hurt.
At this point, most people would have moved on, but Lear kept going. Over the next few years, he shot 3 different pilots, tweaking and recasting each time while ABC kept telling him the show was too risky, too abrasive, and too much for American audiences. Then CBS took a look and saw exactly what ABC was afraid of and greenlit it anyway. CBS locked in Sally Struthers as Gloria and Rob Reiner as Meathead, and finally let Lear do what he'd been trying to do since 1968. By the time that premiere aired in 1971, Lear had spent 3 years getting the door slammed in his face, and he never softened a single edge. Number 10, the rural purge made All in the Family possible. All in the Family walked onto television through a door that had been kicked wide open.
That's ridiculous. I just want to learn a little bit about society so I can help people.
People? Your mother-in-law and me as people. Help us, will you? Go to work.
CBS made one of the most ruthless programming decisions in TV history, a mass cancellation now known as the Rural Purge. Despite strong ratings, the network wiped out a slate of long-running hits like the Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, and Mayberry RFD. Why cancel shows people were actually watching? Well, we've talked about this before, but it's because advertisers wanted younger urban audiences, not rural viewers who weren't buying new cars, appliances, or big-ticket consumer goods. CBS executives decided it was time to stop selling nostalgia and start selling relevance. Out went cornfields, hay bales, and fish out of water farm jokes. In came shows that reflected a changing America, urban settings, contemporary politics, and social tension. When All in the Family premiered in 1971, it arrived as the anti-Beverly Hillbillies. It was loud, political, uncomfortable, and unapologetically modern. That gamble worked. All in the Family became CBS's flagship for a new era.
I didn't see nothing. Now stay off my back.
Archie, how would you like it if you were Tony?
Well, I ain't Tony.
Tony who?
Tony Vicino.
The shoemaker? I thought you went out to get cigars.
That's right, Edith. I went out just to do a little peaceful shopping.
With your favorite son-in-law.
Stifle that.
The network built on that momentum with Maude, The Jeffersons, and MASH reshaping primetime around socially aware storytelling. So when people say All in the Family changed TV, they're only half right. CBS changed first, and All in the Family was the show waiting on the other side. Number 9, Norman Wanted Your Dinner Table. In the early 70s, American sitcoms were all about escape. The Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, fantasy and farce, a nice break from reality. Norman Lear wanted the opposite. He wanted a show that sounded like the arguments families were already having at their own dinner tables, about race, war, politics, all of it. And he figured the best way to expose prejudice wasn't through lectures, it was through letting Archer say the quiet parts out loud, then watching those ideas fall apart on their own. Funny, yes, but squirm in your seat funny. That setup gave Lear room to go places other sitcoms wouldn't touch. Menopause, homosexuality, racism, the Vietnam War, all wrapped inside a family sitcom with a live studio audience laughing along. Other producers played it safe. Lear handed Archie Bunker a megaphone and let America decide what to do with him. Number 8, Gloria sued the show. In the mid-1970s, Sally Struthers, who played Gloria Stivic, was ready to branch out.
I found $1 million at the 5 and 10 cent store.
You found the baby in Woolworths.
She said nice things about the show over the years, but back then, Struthers was frustrated. Gloria wasn't growing. The character felt stuck. By season 5, she'd had enough and filed for legal arbitration to break free from her contract. She wanted out, or at least the freedom to take other roles. The studio pushed back, hard. The arbitration failed and Struthers stayed contractually locked in. During the legal battle, she disappeared from several season 6 episodes while everything played out behind the scenes. No picket lines, no threats to kill off the character, but the tension was real. Struthers later said the only time she truly enjoyed playing Gloria was between seasons 6 and 8, right after the contract fight ended. That was the only stretch where the role actually felt fulfilling to her. And in a 2025 interview, she got even more candid. Struthers claimed that Norman Lear, while professionally respectful, never invited her to the cast dinner parties he hosted for everyone else. She also said Lear once called her the 4th banana and told her she was hired because she had blue eyes and a fat face.
And we chose you because just like Carroll O'Connor, you have blue eyes and a fat face.
In the end, Struthers stayed, Gloria came back, and the show moved on. Okay, we're going to take a quick pause because I need to know what your favorite episode of All in the Family is. Let us know in the comment section, and while you're down there, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That way you don't miss our next trip back to Retro TV Lane. Alright, let's get back into the countdown with number 7, the time Archie Bunker almost died. In 1974, All in the Family came terrifyingly close to becoming a show without Archie Bunker.
Hey, my little girl.
Oh, you're gonna be a grandpa!
Will you stop? You're gonna squash the baby.
Carroll O'Connor's much talked about strike during season 5 was actually a 3-week holdout fueled by a contract dispute over back pay and working conditions. O'Connor claimed the production company owed him roughly $64,000 in unpaid wages, and negotiations with CBS and Norman Lear completely broke down. So, O'Connor walked. Lear's response was,
Bye, Felicia.
Rather than shut down production, Lear filmed a 3-episode arc, explaining Archie's absence as him being away at a convention. Viewers tuned in expecting fireworks, and instead they got a bunker household trying to function without its volcano. However, behind the scenes, Lear reportedly had a much darker plan B. To force O'Connor's hand, Lear expanded the storyline of Archie's loading dock best friend Stretch Cunningham, played by James Cromwell.
Hi, Archie. Hi, you Stretch. What are you doing here? Oh, I had to come this way. I'm visiting a friend in the neighborhood. Yeah, who? You.
According to the rumor mill, Stretch was intended to replace Archie and possibly be a romantic partner for Edith if O'Connor didn't return. Yeah, Archie dying on All in the Family was very much on the table. As the standoff dragged on and the network deadline approached, CBS finally stepped in. Executive Fred Silverman reportedly intervened, meeting O'Connor at a bar to hammer out a deal. O'Connor returned to the show with a substantial raise and the disputed back pay was reconciled. Archie came home, Stretch quietly disappeared, and there was a crisis averted.
Geez, who's coming to the house now? Don't people never stay in their homes of a Sunday no more?
While the show moved on, the legal battles and hardball tactics reportedly caused long-term damage between O'Connor and Lear. After the series ended, the two men rarely spoke again. 3 weeks, one missing Archie, and a reminder that even TV's loudest icon was one negotiation away from extinction. Number 6. The Learverse. One show, 7 branches. All in the Family launched an empire. 7 shows, 2 decades, all traced back to one living room in Queens. Let's run through the family tree for a minute. First up, we have Maude in 1972. B. Arthur played Edith's outspoken cousin, and the show ran for 6 seasons.
You won't believe this. Of all times for something like this to happen.
What?
I just broke out in a terrible rash.
It pushed progressive storylines harder than All in the Family ever did, and proved the formula could work outside Archie's living room. 2 years later, Maude spun off Good Times in 1974. Florida Evans and her family in a Chicago housing project.
But look at it, it is getting
The news is gonna be a party tonight. All the chicks can come boogie down with Kid Dynamite.
6 seasons and one of the most recognizable sitcoms of the decade. Then came the biggest branch of all, The Jeffersons in 1975. George and Louise finally got their piece of the pie, and the show ran for 11 seasons, making it the longest running series in the entire franchise.
Hey, she got a big sense of humor.
Anything's big to you. He's so short, he has to stand on his toes to put his hat on.
I don't even wear a hat.
That's because you can't find one big enough to fit your fat head.
When All in the Family wrapped in 1979, Archie didn't retire. Archie Bunker's Place launched that same year, moving the action to Archie's Tavern. 4 seasons, ending in 1983.
No, this is John Larkin, who's a Catholic priest on the West Side.
What? You made friends with a Catholic priest?
Don't you know that a priest can hypnotize a Jew?
Now here's where the tree starts losing leaves a bit. In 1981, the Jeffersons tried spinning off Florence into her own show, Checking In. She managed a hotel. It lasted 4 episodes. 4. A year later, Gloria gave Sally Struthers another shot, this time as a divorced single mom working for a vet played by Burgess Meredith. 1 season and done. And then finally, in 1994, Norman Lear went back to the well one more time with 704 Hauser. New family, same house, role reversal premise. 5 episodes before cancellation. 7 shows, some legendary, some were forgettable, all tied back to one living room in Queens. Number 5, the night CBS braced for outrage and got a phenomenon instead. When All in the Family premiered on January 12th of 1971, CBS wasn't throwing a party, they were bracing for backlash.
I didn't see no mugging.
Tony mugged somebody?
No, Edith. Tony wasn't the mug-gore, he was the muggy.
Executives were genuinely nervous. The show's blunt language, political edge, and taboo topics were unlike anything American audiences had seen in a primetime sitcom. CBS even brought in extra phone operators on premiere night, expecting an avalanche of angry calls demanding the show be pulled. That meltdown never came. Instead, the phones lit up with curiosity, confusion, and eventually, praise. Viewers weren't outraged, they were intrigued. The audience wasn't rejecting the discomfort, they were leaning into it, and the ratings proved it.
Don't be dying.
You won't even be listening then. You won't even be at the graveside. You'll be over in Hong Kong with your family taking a bath.
By the 1971-72 season, All in the Family moved to Saturday nights and exploded. At its peak, the show drew over 50 million viewers a week, nearly half the television audience in the country. With only 3 networks to choose from, Archie Bunker wasn't just appointment TV, he was unavoidable. All in the Family became the first series ever to finish #1 in the Nielsen ratings for 5 straight years from 1971 through 1976. The Cosby Show later matched that streak, and American Idol eventually passed it with 8 consecutive seasons at the top. But Archie got there first. And the Emmys piled up too. Every lead actor, Carroll O'Connor, Gene Stapleton, Rob Reiner, and Sally Struthers, won at least 1 primetime Emmy for their roles.
Tell her.
I will not.
All right, then you tell her that. You do that pretty good.
I won't go to my mother.
That kind of full cast sweep almost never happens. CBS expected disaster, but they got a phenomenon. Number 4, British Roots. This wasn't a remake, it was a reinvention. Before Archie Bunker ever planted himself in that Queen's armchair, All in the Family started life across the Atlantic as a British sitcom called Till Death Do Us Part.
Do you know that rich landowners keep cattle in better places than this?
Excuse me, that's my home you're talking about.
Norman Lear adapted his groundbreaking hit from that UK series, which centered on Alf Garnett, a conservative working-class blowhard whose bigoted rants targeted everyone from immigrants to liberals to his own family. It was the same basic setup. Loud dad, frustrated kids, and plenty of shouting, but Lear didn't photocopy it. He stripped it down and rebuilt it for American audiences. The biggest overhaul was tone. Alf Garnett was abrasive and vicious by design. He was harsh enough to make you wince. Carroll O'Connor's Archie Bunker still spouted bigotry, no question, but O'Connor layered in fear and vulnerability underneath all that bluster.
This stinks!
Archie was a guy terrified of a world changing without asking his permission. That made him human and way more interesting to watch. The family dynamic got reworked too. In the British version, Alf and his wife Elsie went at each other constantly, trading barbs like equals. Lear flipped that. Edith Bunker, played with warmth and patience by Gene Stapleton, was endlessly kind, which only made Archie's insults land harder and funnier. You didn't need anyone to explain that he was wrong, you just had to look at Edith's face.
Easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into heaven.
Even Meathead got a serious overhaul. In the British version, the son-in-law, Mike Rawlins, was a socialist layabout from Liverpool. Working class left, always butting heads with Alf Garnett. Norman Lear took that template and rebuilt it for America. Michael Stivic, played by Rob Reiner, became a college-educated sociology student, a product of the 1960s counterculture and the rising liberal intelligentsia.
Just as quick my way. Wait a minute, that ain't the prank. You see what I don't keep doing it. Listen to me.
And here's what made it work. Mike lived under Archie's roof while attending college. Every single dinner became a battlefield of Vietnam, civil rights, or women's liberation. These two couldn't pass the mashed potatoes without it turning into a philosophical cage match. The British version gave you working class political sparring. Lear's version gave you something bigger, generational and cultural warfare. The Bunker household became a microcosm of the entire country's divisions, all crammed into a Queen's Row house with nowhere to hide. Number 3, the quiet ending that paid Archie over and over. After all that shouting, arguing, and slam doors, All in the Family always ended the same way, quietly.
All in the Family?
That melancholic piano instrumental at the close of every episode, it was called Remembering You, composed by Roger Kellaway. But here's what most viewers never knew. The song had lyrics and Carroll O'Connor wrote them. By By adding words to Kellaway's composition, O'Connor secured a co-writer credit, which meant royalties every single time that closing theme played. Every episode, every rerun, every syndication deal, which is a smart move. The lyrics were nothing like Archie. Where the opening theme was loud and satirical, Remembering You was wistful and lonely, lines about separation and the quiet aftermath of conflict, a come down after the chaos. O'Connor performed it on the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour and the Flip Wilson Show, sometimes with Kellaway accompanying him on piano.
Got a feeling it's all over now. All over now, we're through.
In 1972, he even released a solo album called Remembering You, leaning into his lesser-known crooner side. So, while Archie ranted his way through American living rooms, Carroll O'Connor made sure that soft piano outro worked for him creatively and financially. Number 2, the Smithsonian chair. Archie Bunker's living room became history. Now, here's how you know All in the Family stopped being just a TV show and crossed into American history.
Show up for picket duty again today.
Well, Daddy, he's just probably sick.
Sick in a pigsty. He's pooping off.
One of the iconic armchairs from Archie Bunker's living room is preserved in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. That chair, the one Archie planted himself in week after week to argue about politics, race, gender, and everything else America was wrestling with, now sits among artifacts that define the nation's cultural story. On television, that chair was part of a mismatched pair. Archie and Edith sat side by side in the living room, two worn chairs placed close together even when the people in them couldn't agree on anything.
You're doing a hell of a job cheering her up.
She's worried. Mike has been gone a long time.
And no, they weren't polished Hollywood props. The chairs were cheap-looking, thrift store-style pieces, chosen specifically to look ordinary. Norm and Lear didn't want anything stylish or elegant in the Bunker home. The furniture needed to feel lived in, modest, and unmistakably working class, because that was the entire point of the show. The chair, preserved by the Smithsonian, became a silent witness to some of the most important moments in television history. That's where Archie argued with Meathead, dismissed Edith, clashed with guests, and unknowingly exposed his own ignorance week after week.
Where you from?
Oh, Chicago.
I mean, what's your nationality?
I'm an American.
I mean, where are your people from?
They're from Poland.
The debates that happened there weren't fictional arguments, they mirrored conversations happening in real American homes. That's why the Smithsonian wanted it. The museum doesn't collect props just because they're famous, it collects artifacts that mark turning points in American culture. Archie's chair isn't there because All in the Family was funny, it's there because the show changed what television was allowed to talk about and how seriously it could be taken. Think about that for a second. A single, ordinary-looking chair from a queen's living room now sits alongside presidential memorabilia and historic documents. How cool is that? Number 1, Carroll O'Connor's Real Politics. Archie was the act. Here's the thing about Archie Bunker. Carroll O'Connor was nothing like him. Archie was loud, reactionary, and proudly wrong about almost everything, but O'Connor? His politics were liberal. He saw the role as a chance to expose prejudice and ignorance, not celebrate it.
I mean, gee, to force the races to intersex that way on the air?
Archie was satire, a character designed to make you laugh, then make you think. O'Connor knew some viewers missed the joke entirely, and it bothered him. But the clearest proof of who O'Connor really was happened behind the scenes.
I don't know. The man was always complaining his feet was killing him.
When All in the Family was getting set up, producers planned to give only O'Connor top billing. He refused. O'Connor insisted Gene Stapleton get equal billing and made it a condition of his contract. He didn't see Edith as secondary, he saw her as the moral center of the whole show and said that while Archie got the loud lines, Edith gave them meaning. That fight for equal credit helped Stapleton negotiate better pay down the line.
Don't you talk to him. Take up his time. Understand? Don't say nothing.
I gotta tell him where the refrigerator is.
So yeah, the guy who played TV's most stubborn old-school loudmouth, well, behind the scenes he was pushing for fairness and respect before a lot of Hollywood even thought to ask. Archie Bunker was the act, Carroll O'Connor was the opposite. And there you have it. 15 weird and wonderful facts about All in the Family you probably didn't know. Which one blew your mind the most, and which one did we miss? Let us know in the comment section below. Hit like if this stirred up memories of watching with your parents or grandparents. Subscribe for more trips back to the shows that raised us, and share this video with someone who can still sing "Those Were the Days" without even thinking. Until next time, rest in peace, Rob Reiner. This is Remember When.